Caitlyn, thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate you being here, and I'm very, very happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to unpack this here. Why did you choose percussion?
Um, when I was around 11 years old, I was just at like a friend's house over the summer, and I just saw like a band playing on TV, and there was a moment where it went onto the drummer, and I still remember it so clearly. I just saw the drummer up on the drum riser, surrounded by the drums, arms like flailing and the lights and everything, and I just had a thought that that's what I want to do. So then when I went into middle school, I was able to like join the beginning band or whatever, and I chose to play the percussion. Yeah. 'Cause a lot of people like have a specific drummer or like band that they were inspired to play drums from. And for me, it was just like that image and just like that moment where I was just like, okay, like that's what I want to do. And then as I started doing it, I was like, okay, this is really for me because I had played other instruments before and I didn't really enjoy like I enjoyed music, but I didn't like the actual instruments as much. But once I started playing the drums, like I really liked how like it just felt to like hit the drums and just the way the drums sound and just everything about it. And then obviously, as I started taking lessons and learning more and more, then I was like getting more into different drummers. My first teacher was a jazz drummer, so he exposed me to a lot of jazz and funk drummers. So that was like heavy influences. So then I was getting more inspiration from specific bands and drummers, as well as the bands that I was just like listening to at the time. Yeah,
And you took to it like pretty immediately that you're like, oh, this is what
right
I
away.
what I want to be doing. Okay.
Right away, yeah. And I never stopped since then. Yeah.
Not even to take a break, not once.
No.
All right, we're gonna research that. We're gonna get into that. And then I will report back if there was a break, I will know about it, Caitlin. I will be checking the records. Yeah.
Okay.
And around what age are we talking about here that you're picking these up?
I was about 12. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
pretty early on.
Yeah, it's kind of early, but I mean, some people start even younger, especially nowadays. People are picking up their instruments at like 2, 3, 4 years old.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two,
Yeah. I mean, you see it on the internet and stuff, a lot of these
it's
like
all staged. I don't believe any of it.
it could be that. I mean, it could be also that their parents are musicians and they're just like constantly just doing it and exposing it to them. But what do you mean what do you mean staged?
I think it's like AI generated. That's what I think. I don't even think these are real kids doing that. That's my theory. And I will again report back with my findings if
Okay.
otherwise.
Okay.
Were your parents kind of exposing you to music early on as a kid, or was it kind of you were on your own finding your sound and path?
I think I was kind of on my own, although my mom is a musician as well. She was a violist. So, obviously I would listen to her practicing and see her music, but obviously the viola is very different than the drums. I don't really remember like as far as what she would listen to, I don't know, but for my dad in particular, I think I was definitely influenced by his music because his music was like music of like the 50s. Um, he'd be listening to like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, stuff like that, or like, and then I'd be listening to like the old like soul radio stations back then, when I was a kid and into high school and stuff like that. So I think I did musically get influence from my dad's like era of music, and then just my mom's like lifestyle of being a musician. Yeah.
They both merged. I like it. You
So
pick and choose what you want to pick up. Yeah.
I think so. And then I didn't even know until much later that my dad did play drums when he was younger, but like nowhere near as like seriously as I was. Like I think he was just kind of messing around with it. But it wasn't like we ever had drums in the house and I just started like picking it up. It wasn't like that at all. It was all just me like okay, I'm playing drums now, I'm taking lessons. Okay, when do I get my drum set? Yeah.
At what age did you join your first band? How far into learning how to play?
I started probably jamming with some friends in high school. Um, but it wasn't really probably till after high school where I was getting like more and more serious about it. Um, I was jamming with some other friends and at that time, moving around with different bands, and then getting more into jazz at that time. So like joining the college jazz bands and stuff like that. Yeah.
You went to school for percussion.
I did. So I was always like taking lessons through high school, and then I kind of took like a break from drum lessons, but I started taking conga classes. I started getting really into like Afro-Cuban percussion after high school, and so I was kind of really focusing on that for a good while. Um, congas and just I started playing bata drums, which are Afro-Cuban religious drums, and really went down that path for like a good long while. Um, and then I went to school. I got my master's in Afro Latin music. I found out just as I was getting my bachelor's, I found out about this program in LA at Cal State LA for Afro Latin music, and I was like, well, I'm already, playing that music, and I can get a grad degree in that. Like, why not? So I just did that, and then that's where I started getting more of like the popular music, like salsa, timba, like different styles that I didn't really know about before. So yeah, I was definitely studying it there. Did take some jazz classes as well. Yeah.
How has those being in those classes and being around that kind of music and environment affected the music that you make now?
Oh, it's had a huge impact. Just the way all the percussion like fits together and just kind of like glues the music together, and the feel again, it's like just all the feel and the grooves of that music that has a huge influence on me today. And yeah, just really going heavily into like how to play to clave, and all these interlocking parts in the bata drums and stuff. Like I know that that's a huge um, part of what I'm able to do today.
Would the music that you're making today be vastly different if you hadn't gone to school and studied what you've studied and coming from the background that you're coming from now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I could have easily gotten more into like maybe like indie rock or whatever else, which I love too. Like I was a huge Weezer fan. I still love Weezer. Like I can listen to their first two albums pretty much whenever. Um
That's as far as you go. There's no
yeah.
that's that's as far as you're stepping into. Above that, that's murky waters there.
Yeah, I do still like them, but I just, for some reason, I kind of lost interest in their music after the second album. Yeah, which I know that was a long time ago, but yeah. But yeah, like I was
They've
in,
been around for a while though. I mean,
oh my
let's
gosh.
take that into consideration as well.
And still
Uh,
doing amazing things. Yeah, so I'm still a fan. I love their drummer. I don't know his name, but he's a great drummer. I would say like he probably has a big influence on me as well, without even me really like realizing it. Yeah, just because I've listened to that music so much. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Um, well, I mean, Rivers Cuomo does listen to this, so we'll edit that part out. I don't want to get you in trouble,
He
but
listens to the podcast.
big fan of the podcast, big
Yeah.
fan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, lesser known listener. Um, you also teach percussion as well, correct?
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I started teaching. Teaching kind of just came naturally to me, just because I love learning so much. Like I was always just seeking out like knowledge and different things. So I actually started teaching as like a tutor, like academic tutor, and then I started teaching more and more drums, and now I do that quite a lot more. I started working in after school programs about like 10 years ago. So yeah, pretty much ever since then, and now I'm able to like do private lessons or classes I have a job that's literally an after school program for music. Yeah.
Now, how does that align with your what you're making musically? Does that kind of interfere, or does that intertwine with what you're doing?
It's definitely a balancing act, but I think overall it's very useful and positive for like the kids to see that I'm actually, you know, doing what I'm showing them how to do, as opposed to just being not just, I don't want to say just being a teacher, but like I'm putting it into practice, and I know what I'm talking about basically. Basically, they don't have to listen to everything that I say. Of course, everybody's gonna take what they need and get other stuff from other places, but um I think it's good that I can be like, okay, like I can't be here because I have a show, or I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks because I'm performing. Yeah.
Is that vastly different from what you were learning when you were studying percussion at their age and kind of just getting lessons?
I know for sure my teacher was definitely like he had gigs and stuff. I would go see him play at the Baked Potato here in LA. Yeah. Are you in LA or?
Orange County, so
Oh, okay. So you're,
right down the road. I always say that, right? I mean, I'm just 3 blocks away. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I would definitely go see him play at the Baked Potato, and um, even like bigger events. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just makes sense that if you're going to be a music teacher that you're also performing. Yeah.
What is the most important thing to remember as a percussionist when you're teaching these kids?
Just keeping the beat for everybody. Yeah, I mean, really, because like at my, the after school program, like we have a band class, and that's literally the hardest thing is to get a kid that can just sit there and just keep, keep the beat for everybody. That makes all the difference. As soon as, that kid like starts changing the tempo or trying to do too many things, everybody gets messed up. But if there's someone that can do that, that makes all the difference. Just keeping the tempo.
Just keeping the tempo. That's what you're there for, to keep time,
Yeah,
right?
obviously there's more to it, but if we're talking
That's
about
just it. No, that is it. It doesn't extend any further than that. Don't
if
let
we're
anybody lie to you.
if we're talking about like a child who like doesn't know, what direction to go, that's the main thing I'm gonna tell them is, yeah, you could add all that other stuff. You could change up the beat, of course, you should, but if the time is suffering, let's go to that later. Let's get the tempo and of course the styles too. Yeah, like learn your different styles of music. Mhm.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. If you're Weezer or something else, yeah, very very important to decipher that. But I mean, like that's something that everybody has their own road, and everybody will have their favorite Weezer album down the line,
Yes.
and that's just something that you learn with time.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite Weezer album?
I don't, but I remember well, they're obviously the blue one, the blue album, classic, and then the green one as well, and that's called the green album as well, right? That's not
It might be. Is
okay.
that the one with Island in the Sun?
I
Or is
think
that later
so.
or earlier? Yeah, I don't see. I lost track. Yeah, I lost track.
Not a true fan. That's fine. Rivers. We're sorry. All
I know,
right.
I'm
We're
so
just
sorry.
sorry, Rivers.
No,
Um,
I still really like and respect them so much, obviously, that they're still really killing it. I mean, I have students that listen to Weezer now. They're showing me like new Weezer songs. I'm like, whoa, cool.
like, oh, I'm glad I left it because
Yeah,
I don't like
I
this.
left. I was actually there was a Weezer fan club back then, and I was in it. So I guess you could say I did leave. Yeah,
But the key word there is was. You left.
I did leave actually. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Weezer live?
Yeah, I did. I saw them. What's that place in Hollywood on Vine? I think it's like the Palladium or something. I don't know. I saw them there when I was like 14. I think I only saw them that one time. Yeah.
Would you go back again to go see them?
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Like,
Yeah, definitely.
but will you? I would love to, but will you?
That's a good question.
What and you're from the Los Angeles area. Uh what was the music scene like that you were getting into when you started going to shows like that, as a teenager?
hmm So when I was starting to play drums, like in middle school, my brother was really into ska at that time. It was like third wave, I think,
Okay.
that time.
That's
So
important. That's important when talking about ska. What wave? Yeah.
yeah. So he would take me to like his friends' shows, and I would just, be just staring at the drummers like, wow, like that's so awesome. Like I'll never be able to do that, because they'd just be up there, pretty aggressive, type of drumming. So I was definitely going to those like smaller shows with my brother at that age. And then when I got a little older, I think, well, I went to go see Weezer. I went to, back then they used to have this thing called K-Rock Acoustic Christmas in Universal City. I went to that a couple times. I think that might have been middle school also, or maybe like early high school. Um, Yeah, and then like later on, my tastes change. Oh, I would go to jazz shows, but that was like a little bit later on when I was getting more heavily into jazz. I would just go to like a local spot. I would go to, there used to be the Jazz Bakery in Culver City. I would go there a lot. Just so much good music there. But that was like a little bit later on, like more like when I was in my 20s.
Gotcha. Now,
Yeah.
would you say that jazz kind of overtook the place in your heart that Weezer once held?
Um, um, Overtook. I mean, I think there was a time where I would like go through phases where I would just only listen to like one style of music. Now I listen to everything, and I can go from one to the next. But there was definitely a time where I was just like only listening to jazz, and I thought everything else was like not good. So, but now like I do listen to jazz, but I don't listen to it nearly as much as I used to. Yeah. Mhm. I go through
Now,
phases. Yeah, I go through
that's that's fine.
phases.
But
Yeah.
I mean, Rivers is already pissed off, so it doesn't really matter what we say going forward. Whatever. No love lost, no feelings hurt. Uh Now, when you joined your first band, what genre was it? Was it a jazz oriented band? In this outside of school, outside of anything academic, and just on your own? Was it based in jazz or
Like initially when I started like bands with friends, we would pretty much, I mean, we would have songs, but a lot of it would be like, let's jam. And like we would just like sit together and just like improvise and just like see where it went. Like that was definitely a lot of what I was doing initially.
fish style? Got it.
I guess, yeah. I didn't even know. I think it was just like what you did at the time. Like, let's jam. Like now I don't really necessarily do that as much, but back then I was definitely like with, the band that I was playing with in high school, and then like shortly after high school, we would like pretty much jam. Who knows how long each song would be, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Was it all
Fish
good?
style. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
was it
I'm
all
with you.
good? Probably not, but I think it's kind of nice to have that in my background because I do have the ability to improvise, even though now I'm more into like song structures, arrangements, and those details. I can still always bring out like some aspects of improvisation. Yeah.
And that is important tool to have with you in order to adapt to a situation if needed.
Oh, all the time. I mean, yeah, as a musician, yeah, we're always improvising. We're always going into situations that are unexpected, different rooms, different people, different, we're feeling different in the moment, um,
Scenarios, yeah.
different
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to be kind of ready to adapt to whatever is coming your way. Sure.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Now with improvisation, now looking at it, you like you said, it's not something that you kind of use all the time now. Um, does it find its way in occasionally though with when performing live?
Yeah, yeah. I like to like find different spots in the music where I don't necessarily always have to do the same fill. I could do different fills, or maybe I didn't do a fill in this one spot before, but like I can do it now. Like little stuff like that.
And that helps keep it fresh, and you're like, I doesn't feel like you're just in the rotation of this song, this song, this song, this song. You're
Yeah,
you're switching it
exactly.
up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Put some Weezer shit on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. A little
definitely.
taste of Weezer.
Definitely.
Um, how did you end up joining the Altons?
I was playing in another band when I first met them, actually. We both played the same show. And I remember like as soon as I saw them, I liked their sound. I really liked them a lot. So that's how I first met them, was just, at a show. And then I started becoming friends with their drummer that was playing with them at the time. And then over time, they started like a project that was an Amy Winehouse cover band, and they asked me to drum for it because the drummer was going to play bass. He was playing bass in the that band. So I was drumming for that Amy Winehouse cover band with them, and so then I kind of started getting acquainted with all of them. And then it ended up a couple times, the drummer needed a sub and they called me, and then he was just kind of spreading himself too thin. I don't really know what happened, but eventually they needed to replace him, and so there I was. Yeah.
Just to hang out, play some Amy Winehouse tracks. Good deal. Good way in.
Yeah, 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 it was. That was a good learning experience too, because I always liked listening to her music also. So it was cool.
Yeah, but you weren't part of the fan club. I mean, that's only strictly reserved for Weezer and
Yeah.
Weezer fans only. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
true dedication.
Yes.
Uh, so you were somewhat familiar with their them before even joining them. You had seen them obviously
Oh
and
yeah.
known them.
Oh yeah. I would go to their shows every now and then. I was, friends with them and definitely a fan.
Did it feel like a a transitioning kind of moment from what you were doing previously to what you were doing with them?
It did feel very natural, of course, but at the same time, it takes time to learn, the music, to learn get to know the people and everything. But I would say that's been like the most natural, like it's been the most natural vibe for me. I've been in like a variety of different bands and stuff like that, and this has been definitely uh, like a very natural vibe. But of course, I've had to work on getting the music better and better. And then eventually, now we're doing music, newer stuff. Because initially I was playing stuff that was on their previous album, so it was a transition for sure because I'm playing someone else's drumming, styles, but also at the same time trying to put my own style to it while still like keeping that style. Yeah.
Is it trying to balance in
Yeah.
between two
So a little bit of
things?
both. It was a natural transition, but it was also like took time.
Yeah. Was what the old drummer and what you were doing, did that feel vastly different?
On some stuff. Yeah. For the most part, I've tried to keep it very similar to what he's done, but of course, like maybe I'm interpreting it differently than what he actually did or what he actually intended. There's only so much that I could be exact to what he did because I'm not him,
Right. Yeah.
that's
You
me. So
can't be a carbon copy of it.
no,
Absolutely.
there's no way.
Also, we have him here, so we're just gonna bring him in and we're gonna hash this out right now. Um, yeah. Speaking on the vibe of the band, how important is that for you? Um, the vibe or the feeling of a group of people that you're performing with, is that crucial for you?
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's everything. I mean, you're going to spend a lot of time, with the people and you're creating with these people. And so it has to be or it's preferably a supportive, fun environment where you could, be yourself and keep growing and be understood, and accepted. Yeah.
Tell that to the Beatles and the Eagles. I mean, they would have none of that.
Hmm.
Only pushing against each other.
Well, I think that was like later on, right? I mean, I don't know.
It was immediately. It was
Was it
immediately. Yeah. I mean, day
really?
one of the Beatles. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. No,
No, I feel
I'm
like
fucking
I
around.
do feel like, well, at least that's what I've heard about the Eagles. I don't know all their history
Y-
very
I
well,
think,
but
yeah, it came later on, I think.
later,
But
yeah, where they like couldn't even be in the same room or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but I wouldn't want it to get to that point. Yeah. Yeah.
do you feel like the Eagles are overplayed and overused in commercials and movies and TV shows and stuff like that, or do you feel like it's just a proper amount that they're not overplayed?
I don't feel like they're overplayed. I don't know. I don't have too many references to to show that.
The Motel 6 commercials, they always use Hotel California. Yeah. No,
Do they?
I'm fucking around, but
Oh.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I
They'll
think
keep the light on for you, but I don't think they'll play the song for you.
yeah, I don't know if it's too much. I mean, it's hard for me to say. I honestly I don't even know their music all that well to be really able to,
But
obviously I
you
know,
you you knew that one, that
well, I
hit.
know Hotel California, of
Okay.
course, yeah, but
That's a good starting point.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't even actually know until recently that guy that's singing is a drummer. Like I didn't even know that until like last year. So
Right. Glenn Fry, I think, is
yeah,
is
and I
who.
don't even see. I don't
Yeah.
even know his name. Yeah.
He made the that song for Beverly Hills Cop. I remember that. The Heat Is On. And
Oh,
yeah, that was also Glenn Fry. You could
okay.
tell that I'm a part of the Eagles fan club.
Yes. If you're not, you should be the president.
Right, right. I'm gunning for the position, but we'll see. Re-election's coming up soon, so we'll see where the dominoes fall. Yeah, cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
Um, going back to your time, not in the Eagles. We'll get to there soon, but in the Altons. How soon after joining the band did you start kind of recording and writing other things than what you were initially handed?
It took about 2 years, I think. Yeah. Um, because I think I joined them around 2018. Um, and we weren't doing like a lot of shows at that time, so it was definitely kind of gradual. I mean, we were doing shows for sure, but it was like kind of more gradual. 2019 stuff started developing, and then we went into the studio, with Gabe Roth in early 2020. So that was like the first time that I recorded with them. Hmm.
What was that like for you to go in there and record with them?
Oh, amazing. I mean, it's amazing to work with Gabe Roth. First of all, he's, so experienced and so knowledgeable, but then he's always willing to just experiment and be in the moment and try stuff, move stuff around until it gets to the place that it needs to be. So that in itself is very inspiring for me. And then, working, of course, with my fellow bandmates and just getting the vibe together. It's been, yeah, it's been great. And just every time we go in there and record something, it's like, I'm comparing what we went through to get to that point to like what it came out to be. And it's like, wow, like we really, really worked hard on it and it really came out pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
How often does this song change shape while forming it?
Oh, 100% of the time. Yeah. Yeah. Especially working with Gabe. We've gone in with, preparation and certain things, and it'll completely change anything from chords to structure to feel, um, arrangement, orchestration. Yeah, all of that.
Is that needed sometimes to be like kind of start with an idea but then change it all up?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, it's kind of like an abstract thing, but like getting it to the right point, getting that song to be what it needs to be. And that's what he's really, really good at, as a producer, is just getting this, knowing what it's supposed to sound like and being willing to like work it through all these different changes in order to get it to that point.
Do you know when you're there when it feels right? Like, oh, this is what we should have. This is what it should sound like, and this is what it should be moving forward.
Sometimes it's difficult because you're doing the song over and over and over and over again, and it becomes kind of difficult to know what's what, when you just keep listening to it and listening to it and playing it and playing it. Sometimes you could feel it in the moment, or like, like, okay, that was a good take for me. Um, but then sometimes you kind of need to like take a break and step away and then go back and listen and compare, the different takes that you did, or yeah.
Yeah, because if you're too close to it, you're too deep into the forest to notice the trees, or however that saying goes.
You can't see the forest for the trees, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Comment below if we're wrong, but I feel like we're right. We're just gonna keep our versions of it, and don't correct us. Well,
I'm pretty sure that's right.
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna get yelled at on the internet for that. But it's fine.
Yeah, we'll have that one comment from Rivers being like, you know.
Rivers, hey man, we're just fucking around, okay? Caitlyn doesn't mean it. She's still a part of the fan club, all right? And you know me with my Eagles, all right? I'm really gonna get an earful. That's
Yeah.
keep on digging this hole just deeper and deeper.
Yeah, that's part of just being a podcast host.
Yeah. I gotta say some edgy shit on here. Yeah, I'm gonna be rubbing some people the wrong way, and that's just I knew that's inevitable.
It's part of it. Yeah.
It's part of the job. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Um, do you recall the first song that you got down that you were on for the Altons or with the Altons?
Yeah, the first song I recorded with them was When You Go.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's that that became a pretty a staple, I'd say, of
I
the
know,
group.
I know. It's kind of crazy that that's the first one that we did, and it came out like really, really good, and people like really liked that song, and then it got sampled and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Um, and for those who don't know, that song kind of starts with a fill from you that leads the guitar to come in that starts the song.
Mm-hmm.
And um was it you working on that song and hashing it out with everybody else that like that idea came in for that song, or was it something that you brought to the table outside of the recording session and like, oh, this is something like this could work for kind of introducing this song and getting into it?
It was definitely in the moment. Yeah, it was definitely in the moment because I don't remember very well, but I think that intro was added, that day that we were working on the song at the studio. So um, it just kind of came to me in those moments that we were working that intro out. Um, yeah. Hmm.
Do ideas like that usually come from hashing a song out in the studio or taking different takes of stuff?
Yes, sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah, a lot of it. So sometimes there's like, okay, we rehearse it first before we start recording it, and then we find it there.
I thought you
Um,
guys were just recording the whole thing, the whole rehearsal,
no,
hashing out this.
no. So we're like
uh, yeah, that record will come out soon of
the
just the practices and
outtakes.
first takes. Yeah, first takes, outtakes, all of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no, so a lot of it,
Penrose
yeah, a lot of it, yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm sure people would like that. Yeah.
Volume 2. Yeah,
Behind the scenes, people like that stuff.
or
It's being worked out. I guess I actually really enjoy that we work it out as a unit, even though, they're coming with lyrics and melodies and chords, a lot of time, Brian and Adriana, um, and even ideas for grooves and stuff like that. But then that always ends up changing, even sometimes lyrics and melodies are changing, chords are changing. So I like that we still have that collaborative process in the studio. So yeah, as we're rehearsing the song and getting the main thing that we're getting down when we're rehearsing it is like the feel of the song. You know, obviously the transitions are always hard. Um,
Sure.
so once we're getting those, and then once we start recording it, it's like now we got to really really focus and remember everything that we just did with all these twists and turns and um and getting it down. Yeah.
How often are you coming into the studio with your own idea? Like, hey, like I have this idea for this beat or a fill that needs to be like, or I think that should be incorporated within one of these songs. How often is that happening for you?
With this group, it's not really being generated so much from the drums. It's more so coming from the lyrics. Yeah, the lyrics and melody. A lot of times Brian comes with lyrics, melody, and chords, and even a feel and everything, and then we're adding to that. But I do, you know, a lot of times, not all the time. Sometimes it's a kind of push and pull between uh, what I feel like I might want to do and what's actually like right for the song. So I always have to just get my opportunities to put my styles and my ideas in where I can. But if it's not going to be right for the song, then you know I'll mold
You'll
it.
rewrite the whole song and make sure that it fits you and what you want to do, right? That's that's what you do.
The opposite of that. Yeah, the opposite of that.
Is it more difficult for you to develop an idea for your own thing, or to kind of find where you fit into somebody else's idea?
Like which of the two is more difficult for me?
Yes, yeah. And I should
Um,
have phrased like that. I'm very sorry, Caitlin. Moving forward.
no, it's okay. Just wanted to make sure. I
No,
think,
you had it right. I
yeah.
knew. I was like, oh yeah, I think Caitlin's gonna say it better than I. She knew what the little thing about the tree and the forest thing was. I mean, you're smart. You're
Thanks.
on it, Caitlin. You're on the ball.
Hey, you caught me, you know, in the morning, so I'm fresh.
That this is it.
Yeah,
This is
prime
the
time.
moving and grooving hour.
Yeah. Um, I think both can be difficult or both can be easy. I don't know. It just really depends. Like sometimes the ideas just flow and I don't even think about it. It just comes in the moment, you know, to go back to when you go, like there was no thinking about the fills that I was doing. It was just kind of like, this is what it is. This is what I'm going to do here. And it works, you know? And then sometimes I'm trying stuff, you know, and it's not working. Likewise, you know, if I have my own ideas for stuff, sometimes it just comes out. And other times I have to just kind of force myself to sit there and work it out, change it. Yeah.
When you do bring your own idea to the table with somebody else, even I mean, outside of the Altons,
Mhm.
um, and you have an idea for another part, let's say like how the bass should sound, will you try to convey what you think would sound good on the bass to the bass player, or will you just like let them figure it out?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My philosophy is like if I really, really am passionate about something in the moment, I will say it. However, sometimes I just kind of let it work itself out between them. Yeah, so a little bit of both, but generally, I kind of let them kind of work it out, and then I'll just do what I do and hope that what I'm doing is influencing it in the way that I hope that it can go. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
How often does ideas come to you when you're playing by yourself or practicing playing music on just solo?
Good question. I would say all the time, every single day, stuff is coming to you. I guess that's one of the really amazing things about music and, you know, drums in particular is that there's just so much, you know, there's so many ideas and, you know, colors that you can use to put ideas together. And then the challenge is really just honing in on the idea and like developing it. Yeah.
Has there been an idea that you've been toying with? That you're like, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. But you keep on. You're not letting go of it because like it will work eventually.
Um, hmm. I think there's stuff that I kind of like pick up and put down and kind of keep going back to. Um, there's definitely stuff that I've recorded that I thought was really cool, and then I listen, I'm like, maybe it's not that cool. So I mean, yeah, it's both. And then there's other stuff that's like, oh wow, like I didn't realize that that was gonna sound that good, and it sounds really good. So yeah, it's definitely both. It's always like experimenting, and I guess it's just finding the fun in experimenting and being able to like throw away the ideas that are not working and being able to flesh out the ones that you think can work. Yeah.
Have you ever been wrong about like a thing that you put down? You're like, that will just not work, and then somehow came back to it. You're like, oh, this definitely would work. It was just wasn't working with what I was trying to do before with it.
Um, like an idea that I like changed, you mean? Like,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Like there's been times where I've listened back and I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually playing too much there. Let me play less." Yeah. Does that kind of answer?
That absolutely answers the question. Not only that, Caitlin, I like the answer. All right, that's a that's double. That's a bang bang right there.
Yeah.
Um, when you perform live with the Altons, let's use that for an example. Um, are you paying most attention to what the bass is doing, or yeah, is that who you're giving your most or focusing most on? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. For a while, I would pretty much only want to hear the bass in my monitors and then like some guitars and no vocals. But because now over time, like the vocals are like they're talking, they're changing what they're doing. Sometimes, you know, things are in the moment and I do need to hear them a little bit more clearly. So now I'm starting to put some more vocals into my monitors, but overall like my main focus is definitely the bass. I need to lock in with the bass and hear clearly what he's doing.
Is that the most important connection between or for a band, and especially in your position, is like the drums and the bass, the rhythm, like that's what needs to be, you need to be in sync.
Oh yeah, absolutely, that's the foundation um, of the band. If that's shaky, then it's gonna mess with the rest of the structure, so yeah, 100%. That has to be locked in tight, actively listening and all of that.
Is it hard to actively listen during a performance while you're being a part of the performance? Is that kind of a difficult thing to balance?
Um, it's not. I mean, it is. I would say it's difficult in the sense that it takes a lot of energy, like mental energy and physical energy, but it's not because it puts you in the zone, like you're just highly, highly focused and you're just there to do what you're there to do. And that's such a great feeling to do that because especially nowadays, it's like our minds are all over the place, short attention spans and so many distractions. And so to be able to just be fully focused um, on something and create something in the moment, even though you've done it before, is always just such a great feeling. It's new because there's always going to be variables with the sound. You're in a different room, so you're reacting to the room, the acoustics of the room, the crowd, um, there's just a lot of variables, and then also trying to keep it fresh and putting new things into it each time. Hmm.
Right, because you want to keep it fresh for yourself, obviously, and that's where the improvisation they were talking about an hour ago. when it
Yeah,
comes in.
yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but I'm paying attention to what everybody else on the stage is doing, just actively, really just tuning in to that. Um, and they could be having some changes in what they're doing or a technical difficulty or whatever it is. So there's a lot to pay attention to. So it is difficult in that sense of like it does take full energy, but it's not difficult, like it's not taxing. Yeah.
It just requires a lot of attention,
Hmm.
splitting between separate things.
Many things. Yeah.
Many,
But I
many, many things. I
but
mean, like
I
a
love,
hundred things.
yeah, but I love that. Like that's my favorite thing because it is like you're just focused, you're in the zone. Yeah.
Speaking on the point of getting the feeling of the acoustics within a room, how long does that take you to get adjusted to that as a drummer? Does it take like a second during like sound check, or does it kind of happen while performing and you're like, okay, I finally understand what's going on? Or
It's definitely it's both because when you're sound checking, the room is empty. There's no audience in there. So you're getting a feel for the room. Okay, this is a pretty good dry kind of room, or wow, this room is very boomy. But then of course, once the room fills up, it's different. So as you're performing, you're getting a feel for it. Yeah.
hmm, what is the ideal room in your eyes to play in?
Um, Definitely one that's not too like boomy. It's always nice when the stage is kind of like lower, like not too high. Um, when we played at the Glass House recently, I really enjoyed playing there. It wasn't super boomy. I just felt like that was a really nice room for me to play in.
It's an interesting space.
Yeah,
Um,
I was surprised how much.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I liked it. I had played there, we played there the year before, but this time I guess I was just kind of noticing and comparing it because we had played at the observatory the week before, and that was a little bit more difficult for me because there was a lot of like bouncing back of the snare drum. And so I was like, not sure, do I need to be playing softer or, can I put everything into it in this room? So yeah.
And that was in the larger room, I'm assuming.
But yeah, it's bigger. I think it's like a 1200 capacity. And then that one, it's quite different. I think the stage is it's higher, and then the audience is like lower, and then
Right.
it's
Right.
like
The pit and then
slanted.
layers. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
yeah. That so you're playing in the bigger room of the observatory, that with the tiers of people, like the three, and then there's a bar in the back, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. I'm like, oh wow, the people are like standing on this like angle. It's very, very interesting.
It's
Yeah.
an interesting layout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of great performances there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Cool though. I mean, it makes sense because then everybody could see.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nice if you're on the second, you're not blocking the third, and the first is blocking you.
Hmm.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but that was a little bit challenging for me to know if I was like playing to the room the way that I want it to be. Yeah.
So you're going to go back there. It's today, right? You said right after this you're going to go back there today and check it out and really get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll play there again. Yeah, but not today.
But you are going solo over there later on today,
I'm gonna do a 45-minute drum solo.
right? Just to get a feel for it. Yeah,
Yeah, just so I really can get to the bottom of it. Yeah.
it's what Ginger Baker would do. So I mean, come on now. I
Yeah.
mean, what are we gonna do? One of the best,
Right.
I would say. Yeah, one of the best, definitely. Ginger Baker.
Yeah, I still need to see. I know there's a documentary about him. I still haven't seen it, so
I haven't seen it either, but it I also need to we'll watch it, and the next time you come on, we'll just discuss that, and we'll give our dissertation on that.
there you go. Yes.
Um, a really good album that I've been listening to for a while now is Fela Kuti and Ginger Baker. It's a live album. Have you heard that one?
I've heard about it. I have not listened to
Oh,
it.
you gotta listen to it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's double drums. It's Fela's just regular drummer and Ginger playing together, like a double kind of kit scenario.
Oh my
Really good.
gosh. Okay, I'm gonna listen to that as soon as we finish the
You
interview. Hmm.
you got to. It's I think it's
Oh,
live '79 or something. Live
Okay.
in Africa
Oh,
'79 or
okay.
'76, one of the two.
Okay. Okay. I'll look
It's
for it.
within that 3-year difference, I hope. And if I'm wrong, I mean, again, just please, yeah, email me about it. Yeah. Um, Now going back to the recording aspect of the Altons,
Mhm.
uh, you guys usually record live, right? It's all
Yeah.
live. Uh,
Yeah.
does that affect how you play as well with everybody kind of coming in together?
It does. It definitely does. Because I'm not in a drum room, separated and like doing it where I can just get my take and be done with it. We have to be all on the same page and have a good take as a unit. And then we're also, yeah, listening to how it sounds in the room, how it sounds in the headphones, how it feels. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a different experience. And then it's also like, oh, like I played that part really well, but someone else had a flub, or I had a flub, but everyone else had a good, take. And it's like, so yeah, it is. It's really, you really have to work well together and be willing to like, oh man, that was really good for me, but it wasn't right in other parts of the band, so I have to just let it go. Yeah.
Do you prefer to record live rather than tracking?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I like both, but it is very exciting. I could say to do it all live for sure. Yeah. I do
The
enjoy that challenge.
Right. Does the way the song is being recorded affect the way that you're gonna play it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even though it is a studio session, I'm still gonna be thinking about, playing in the room and what dynamics are needed for the song and different sections of the song. Um, yeah, does that answer the question?
Definitely does.
Okay.
Yes. And I like the answer again.
Okay.
Just coming out with the good answers.
Gold star.
Yep, definitely like coming back into River Cuomo's graces. So
Okay.
it's good. Um, we touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking about when you go, but yeah, Mary J. Blige wanted to sample your part of that song and
Wow.
the bass and a little bit of the guitar, or do I have that wrong? Is
It does have the intro guitar. Yeah, it
mm,
does have that. It does have that. But yeah, it's a lot of a lot of the drum fills. Yeah, so the producer is named Bongo, by the way. I never had heard of him before, but he's an accomplished producer. And when I first heard it, I was like, wow, like he really made a beat out of like drum fills. Like that's really cool. Yeah.
what was your reaction when you heard like, oh, Mary J. Blige wants to sample something that you created?
I freaked out. I mean, I totally freaked out in a good way. Yeah, like I was jumping up and down, I was laughing, I cried, I told friends and I
You
was
said no, yeah, initially.
it was amazing because like I love like all those drummers, like the drummers that played with James Brown, a lot of studio drummers. All those guys have been sampled, hundreds of times. Bernard Purdy. So that's always been like an inspiration for me to be a drummer that's or I'm listening to these drummers that I'm inspired by. They're on so many things. I don't even know what they're on, and I'm listening to them and I'm absorbing them. So to know that like my drumming is on something and people are going to be hearing it and not know who the hell I am, but maybe later they'll find out, like that's kind of cool. Like that's very cool. It is literally a dream come true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when people deep dive, depends on how
Yes.
far you want to dive.
Yes, see the deep dive. See, I love that so much. Like when I hear something, I'm like, wow, those drums are crazy. Like who is that? And then like you go on that journey. Yeah, I really like that.
Right. And so how much you get paid for that now? Um, yeah, that must have been a really crazy feeling. And out of all people, Mary J. Blige wants to.
Yeah, to be sampled and for it to be for one of the top artists in the world, like throughout generations, like, yeah, it's amazing. And now they're using that song on her TV show, her talk show. It's just like, What? Yeah, like the intro title part of her new talk show uses that instrumental. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's all about the intro. That Phil.
Yeah, that's so cool because there's so many like intros to like those old soul songs. Like the introduction is so different than the rest of the song, but it's so deep. It has so much great musical stuff, and a lot of those have been sampled by like MF Doom or like other producers. So yeah, there's something to be said for like having an introduction that's like totally different than the rest of the song. I'm definitely a fan of that.
Does it blow your mind thinking about, starting at 12 and then it just kind of figuring it out and going into the jazz program at school, and then slowly going through academics with music to finally get sampled by Mary J. Blige? Does that just blow your mind?
It's totally mind blowing and very like
Kind of blowing, yeah, I know. Good.
blowing and blowing.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing and it's very like redeeming. Like, okay, yes, like this is working. It's taking a lot of time and work, and I'm gonna play no matter what, because I love it. But like to see that it's like being received is like, yeah, it's an amazing feeling. Yeah.
And it's also being received in its original format very, very well as well. Um, and why do you think that is? Why do you think that song is so popular?
I mean, it has a great hook. That hook is, amazing. The melody is great. It's familiar and yet new enough. Adds different elements. Again, I think the feel is really great of that song, and it has enough unique elements and changes. Um, yeah, I think it really depends. I think everybody latches on to different parts of a song. Some people might be focusing more on the lyrics, melodies. Some people might be grooving more, or like, or some people might be taking it all in.
What do you feel you latch on to when you first hear a song? Is it the lyrics? Is it the overall feel of it, or the drums? What are you locking into when you're listening to music, usually for the first time at least?
Oh yeah, definitely the drums. Yeah, the drums and the feel.
Why is that? Why do you?
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
just something that interests me.
yeah, just my minor kind of interest. Yeah. Yeah, that's just where my mind and my ears go is like the sound of the drums, the feel, the pattern of the drums. And then yeah, the other sounds that are coming in and out. Um, you know, is this song like a positive, energetic kind of song, or is this making me feel kind of more like relaxed? Yeah. And then after that, I might tune in a little bit more to the lyrics. Sometimes I'll really tune into the lyrics right away if there's certain things that really stand out or just kind of grab me, but usually that takes me a little longer.
After a few listens, then
Mm-hmm.
you're dissecting everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But first and foremost, it's guitar. Got it. Um, what do you get from playing drums?
Oh, that's a big question. I
It's the
get,
last one, so I was
yeah, okay,
saving it. Yeah, yeah.
good. I get everything out of it. Everything. I get that I get to have fun. First of all, it's extremely fun to play the drums. Like, it's probably the most fun thing that you could probably do. Um, I get to like learn new things. I get to grow as a musician and as a person by playing drums. Um, I get to interact with people that I would have never interacted with if I, didn't play music and drums in particular. I get to express a variety of things. Yeah, it's everything. It really means everything to me. Yeah.
It's like four things, but it's fine. It's not everything.
Yeah.
No,
It's
that's.
it's a purpose. Yeah, it's a purpose.
I'm glad I said that once at the end. This is gonna be the real closer. If it wasn't for um percussion, what would have been the secondary instrument do you feel looking back on it now?
Looking back now, I think I could have gone for bass. Yeah. Yeah.
Just coming out of the blue with these answers, but okay, I don't know where that stems from, but it's fine. Kind of out of left field. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Caitlin, such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. But before I let you go here, I got some promo to do.
Okay.
So, the Altons music streaming everywhere. And you can get the showcase, right? Volume 1 at penroserecordings.com. That's the best place, right?
Yeah, I think that's the website. Yeah, Penrose Recordings. I don't know if that's the actual. Yeah, you know better than I do.
I'm gonna say it. It's yeah, penrose.com, and that'll be linked below whatever you're listening to this on. And you can stay up to date with news, shows, and releases by following the Altons on Instagram at the Altons.
Yes.
Yeah, and the music's streaming everywhere, and I highly recommend you go and check out these songs that we've been talking about here. In Mary J. Blige's, I don't know the name of the song that her title of her
Oh, the
song.
one that sampled that is called No Idea. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called either. Um, do you have anything else to plug here, Caitlin, or anything else we gotta let the people know about?
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm Caitlyn Moss Drums. I sometimes post stuff, but not that often.
No, definitely go follow her, and that'll be linked below as well. And that's again, that's Caitlyn Moss Drums, right?
Yep, yep,
No
yep.
underscores.
Nope, just straight through. Yeah.
Originator, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
just my name and my instrument. That's just all you need to know. Yeah.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
you. Caitlin, absolute pleasure. I'm gonna stop recording. I'll talk to you in a minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you.